Carly was home visiting, so we booked a weekend trip to Copenhagen. We got the train from the airport. There's a city pass that allows you unlimited buses, trains, and metros. Just make sure you buy the right one. We accidentally bought one that was larger than we actually needed and paid a little extra. We headed straight over to our little boutique hotel, the Coco Hotel. It was walking distance from the train station. We dropped our bags and headed straight out for the day.
Hanging out in the meatpacking district.
Our first stop was the meatpacking district, where we had to try out a cute little pastry shop. Before coming over to Copenhagen, all we saw were videos of all these amazing pastries. So, first stop was a success. For a late November trip, the weather actually was not that bad, just a little drizzly, so dressing appropriately was key. One of our favorite things to do in cities is go to vintage stores and secondhand shops. Just walking the streets is always a great time for us. We had to do Tivoli Park our very first night, and this place did not disappoint. Hundreds of thousands of lights adorn the place. It's one of the oldest amusement parks in Europe. We were so lucky to arrive on the opening weekend of its Christmas market display. It was so beautiful. I made a separate video just on our trip to Tivoli Park so you can see all the wonderful sights inside. Every morning started, of course, with a cup of coffee downstairs in the hotel lobby. We then headed out and started our day of exploring. It was such a beautiful sunny day, so we took advantage of it and headed straight out to Nyhavn, a 17th century waterfront canal and entertainment district in Copenhagen. It's well known for its brightly colored 17th and early 18th century townhouses and bars, cafes and restaurants. Going there early in the morning on a beautiful sunny day, we practically had the entire place to ourselves. Thank you, sunny day in Copenhagen. Our next stop was to find breakfast, of course. We walked along the streets and found this row of distinctively painted houses that remained from when they were first built as naval barracks by King Christian IV. Then we headed over to Apotheke 57. We beat the lines for this well-known spot, but it became very clear why this place is so popular. It's a simple menu, but so delicious. Sitting at a shared table, we started with amazing pastries, a simple breakfast, but the winner was these roasted vegetables with the poached egg. Our next stop was the Veras Sunday Market. This is such a good place for secondhand fashion lovers. It has a lot of great finds at really great prices. Carly found a few things, but just make sure you have cash in hand. We spent the next couple of hours just strolling the streets. We did so much walking in Copenhagen. There's plenty of shops to stop into or windows to look into. The design concept in Copenhagen is very well known. I found some great pants at this vintage shop along the way. Our walk continued through the cemetery where Hans Christian Andersen was buried. By that time, we were starving and had to find a place to eat. I had heard of the Bruns street food market, so we stopped in to find some food. The gasoline grill was inside that's very well known for its burgers. The burgers were actually quite good, but the wait was way too long. We went to the Ghani outlet next, and we really should have done the design museum since it turned out to be closed the following day. But our next stop, Freetown Christiana, a colorful community that operates independently. They have their own laws, their own flag, and their own way of life. It was abandoned by the military, but a group of hippies in the 70s broke it down and over time made it a safe space and their home. The main selling street, Pusher Street, was famous for its open illegal trade of cannabis until 2024, when it was shut down in a collaborative effort between the police and the majority of the inhabitants. Despite operating outside the laws of Denmark, Freetown Christiana has its own set of rules to keep the peace. Along with a self-sustaining economy and a no-car policy, the community is very eco-conscious. Recycling, swapping, and sharing goods is a common and important practice. They even have their own police force that patrols town, making sure each inhabitant is doing their part correctly. The community's hippie roots have fostered a movement of caring for the planet and ways to make it work in daily life. Later that evening, we went to dinner across the street from our hotel at Delphine. Carly made this great video.
our delicious
Mike and I were
Irish
craving
coffees.
Irish coffees, so we stopped in for a nightcap. I love the retro vibe of the hotel and our quiet morning wake-ups with some delicious cappuccino. We didn't have much left on our schedule of things to do on our final day, especially since the design museum was closed. But we got up and headed out for breakfast. Another pastry shop we wanted to try out was Andersen Maillard. I really wanted the cube croissant filled with pistachio, but the place sells out very quickly, as we found out. These pastries were not disappointing. We continued walking through town and found this place, the Collector's Cage, an amazing shop of second-hand bags. Look at this wall of city bags. I love this find. Our feet were tired, so we found this place called the Bastard Cafe. The space is filled with thousands and thousands of games. We bought some cappuccinos and chai tea lattes and sat down and played a game for free. The concept is that later in the day you can reserve the tables and pay an hourly fee for some of the games. All night long, as many games as you want. What an amazing concept.
It's hailing.
As it began to hail, we started our trip back home. 3 days was the perfect amount of time for the things we wanted to see and do in Copenhagen. Thanks for the idea, Carly.